Hi, I'm Alan Ruskus, and welcome to this week's edition of Coffee at the Fish. You may be wondering why you are not seeing Meg Giannotti here, and there's a very good reason for that. The artists at Artfish 42 felt it was time to turn the tables a bit and hear all about Meg's own amazing work. So sit back, relax, grab your coffee, and get ready for another amazing journey into the world of art. Meg, got your coffee?
I have my coffee, Alan.
Okay.
Not being on this side. I don't know if I know what to do, but
Oh, yes, you do. Sure you do. You look fabulous. The pieces behind you look fabulous, and I can't wait to get to hear about all of them. But
thank you.
Tell us about how you started in the art world. When did that all begin?
I mean, ever since I was young, I used to paint and draw, and I was crafty in the okay, I'm going to date myself. When was it? Probably it must have been the early 70s, mid 70s. How is that possible? Remember the big tissue flowers?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I used to make the tissue flowers. I was always had that entrepreneur thing. I was like, I'll make these tissue flowers and I'll sell them. And then I made stuffed pillows and I sold those. And then, as school, you got into art, got into New York, started doing stuff. And
You grew up in Connecticut.
Grew up in West Haven, Connecticut.
And went to school in New York.
Went through the West Haven school system, which really was amazing because that actually brought me, or from that I got exposed to the music end, and at least heavily into the music end, where I studied classical. So I was like five periods a day. I was doing music. I was, learning German and Latin and
nice.
Italian and all that stuff, and learning classical. And so, I mean, and then I've always gone in the creative field, whether music, acting, designing, art. So.
But art is a big field. What got you to do visual art, not sculpture or other forms of it?
Everything just kind of got interwoven. So I was in New York in the 80s and I was going to school. I went to FIT. I did not graduate from FIT, but I did take a lot of classes. So I was doing a lot of textile, and then I started doing a lot of wearable art. It was very big. So I was painting on fabrics and creating and I was definitely an 80s new wave kid. So, I would take clothes from the 40s and reconstruct them, and then I would paint them. So that started that whole thing. How I got onto canvas, you know what? I don't even know. I can't even tell you when that crossed over because it just kind of organically happened,
right.
So I don't know exactly when that happened, when that occurred, but I was always doing some kind of crafted artistic endeavor, so whether I don't know, Alan, you stumped me.
Because you do canvas work, but you do encaustics. You do a very complex form of canvas art. Some of our listeners might not understand what they are. Maybe you can explain.
Sure. So the encaustics, I learned encaustics probably 20 plus years ago. And what encaustic is, it's a beeswax mixed with a Damar resin, and it creates this bond. It creates this like cone, and you add pigments to it, and you melt it and create on boards. and was called cradles. So it's a board with a lip, you know. And I used to do that about 25 years ago. And then a friend of mine, Yvonne, had a gallery in Connecticut, and she called me and told me I was doing a show. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll do a show. And she said, no, you're going to be one of my artists. And, you know, what are you going to do? And I started laughing. I said, well, I'll do encaustics. And she said, okay. And then she said, you know, you hang on this day, the show opens this day. And I'm like, wait, but what? Are you serious? Oh, wait, what? So now I had to go back to encaustics, which I haven't touched in so long. And you know what? I loved it. I remembered how much I loved encaustics. I loved, you know, using a torch and like moving and creating. So that was encaustics. And when encaustics harden, because it has the resin in there, they cure. It takes almost up to a year for it to fully cure. Wow. Yeah, so it's a real endeavor to do encaustics, but I love them because there's a freedom to them. And then you polish them, and you know.
It's fascinating because when you work in that manner, you become part of the art, and you're living with the art, and whatever the expression is grows out of your interaction with the piece.
Absolutely.
So it's very different from looking at a sunset and grabbing a paintbrush and putting a sunset on canvas. This is a live, active, which is possibly why some of your pieces are so alive and active.
Thank you.
Do you have any encaustics that we should look at, or?
You know, I don't.
You don't? Well, we're going to fix that.
I did not put any encaustics on.
We'll fix that later.
Yes, but you know what? I will put some up on the website.
Okay.
You can see them, so they can go to 42.com and put some under the bio. I'll put some encaustics.
Okay, perfect. So now you're an artist, encaustics, you are into canvas art. You moved back to Connecticut?
I moved back to Connecticut. Connecticut has always been that place I come back to. I had moved to Nashville. I was in Nashville for 8 years, came back to Connecticut. I was in Washington State for a couple of years, came back to Connecticut. When I was younger, I would go to LA for 3 months for the pilot season for acting. I would come back to Connecticut and then be based in New York. And then I would go back. So I've just always been a wandering
person. Many people may not know about the active musical and theatrical career that you did have.
Yeah, I had. I've been in theater for a very long time. I've worked on some movies, worked on a lot of shows, did casino work. I'm up there in the casino with this big stage.
We'll get a stage for you in the corner of Artfish 42 one of these days. And
yeah, there you go. We'll just put me up there.
We'll put you up there. Get
it was interesting. And yeah, and I just did a show the end of this past year, which was fun. I did it with an old friend of mine, Teddy Brown. And
right.
Yeah, so and I got back up on stage and I was like, oh, I got bit by the bug a little bit again. There's something about being in front of an audience that you love.
You're such a natural at it, and you're just so engaging and open, which is part of what makes these interviews so fascinating.
Oh, thank you. You're so kind.
No, you're part of it. Absolutely. So we're back in Connecticut. There's a musical theater career, but somewhere along the line, Artfish 42 was born.
Yeah. So Artfish 42 came about because I had an Etsy shop.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a group of artists that I used to meet with at Starbucks. And everyone was talking about Etsy. Oh, I wish we had someplace local, blah, 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 blah. And so I said, well, let's see about Project Storefront, which was in New Haven at the time. And they would have an empty storefront and they would put artists in. And they found that art really helps areas that are in change and that are growing. And no one was like, oh, I don't want to be in New Haven. So, which I'm like, okay. I mean, it was going to be expensive to be in New Haven. And then someone said, well, there's some places down in Walnut Beach. And I was like, Walnut Beach I had gone to when I was young, you know, and there was a transition happening in Walnut Beach. Came down, met with our now landlord, and said, you know, should look at Project Storefront. And so we didn't have time for that. So what we did do is open up a little pop-up. So Artfish 42 started as the Artist Collective in November 2014. And just a couple of months, little pop-up, boom. And by the time we finished that 3 months later, or 2 months later, everyone around the area was like, are you going to come back? And I was like, oh. The rest is history. Artfish 42 was born as an artist collective with, which was kind of, we were like artist collective / artist co-op. What are we? And I think now we found our way, and we're very unique. We're a boutique gallery. We have amazing artists and artisans that I am very proud to be associated with. We're very unique. We don't have a lot of overlapping, you know.
And one of the fascinating parts of being one of the artists is the sharing and the growing that each artist brings to each other, and the development among each other. So
yeah,
it's been great.
I think it's really important for artists to not only learn their art and their modalities and what they do, and grow it as an artist, but also to learn the business of art. And I think that's what Artfish 42 kind of does, because, you know, you hear the old adage that, you know, artists are great at what they do, but they don't know business. They get taken. And unfortunately, that's true. I mean, I can't tell you how many people will say, you know, if you put your piece up in my office, a lot of people will see it and you'll get exposure. Really? Because guess what? If you're a dentist and you do my teeth and I go somewhere and I smile and you know your teeth will get a lot of exposure. You don't ask other professionals to do that.
Right.
Shouldn't ask an artist to do it. An artist works at their craft, you know. And I think we saw with the situation that just happened, or that's kind of still happening at this point, you know, a lot of artists were considered and categorized more as hobbyists than full-fledged businesses. So I think that's something that we have done, and I think at this point need to do a little more, is to teach artists the true business of being an artist.
It's true, and you're very mentoring for all of the artists there, but it's not only the business of being an artist, but the process of opening up yourself to becoming an artist, which they go hand in hand, and it's not always a straightforward route or as easy as you would like it to be. So I have to applaud you for all of your mentoring and leadership for the group.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
You know,
but we need to see something.
It makes it easy. We have really amazing artists.
Oh yeah, well I have to agree with that one too. We need to look at some of your work. You have pieces you can share with us?
All right, so if you look at this piece,
okay.
Can you see it?
Yep.
All right, so this is, you know, I think one of the things with being an artist is you know, like if you look and say, oh, it's a Jackson Pollock or something, you know what their style is. One of the things I think with being an artist is expanding and growing and turning and going into all these different phases. So these were 3 pieces that I had done for the shop, and they're like 24 by 48. They're rather large pieces, but I wanted, because, well, obviously we're down at the beach, so, you know, we have this theme down here with nautical and beach-like. But I wanted to work on some vibrancy with these vibrant colors and you know, it's like I love all of them. I love the jellyfish. They kind of talk to me. I've always loved horseshoe crabs from growing up. I mean, growing up at the beach, you know, you would always see them. And they were amazing to me. And it's amazing that they're prehistoric and now their blood is being used for so many medical things. And then, listen to me, things, you know, the things. And then the octopus, there's, you know, I love his bulbous head. I mean, it's just like he makes me smile, you know. So that's kind of what I had always done. And now I've kind of ventured again to a different modality and or a different field. And now I'm doing a lot more abstract. But I like, if I look at this one has a lot of silver leaf in it. So the silver leaf kind of gives me that reflectiveness, and and this one's called City Lights. So it kind of reminded me of the skyline of any big city, but of course for me, I always think of New York. And then it has some larger pieces like this one, and this one is Peaceful Cacophony, which, you know, you have your peacefulness, and then you have this cacophony, this frenetic things that are going on. So you always have those two sides, you know, people who look so calm on the outside and inside they're all jumbled, or, you know, so it kind of goes along with that stuff. And this is one of my favorite. This is actually a custom work of this piece. I don't know if you can see it. Yep. So this piece I had done, and someone came in and said, "Oh, I love that, but I need a larger version of it." So I did a version. It's not the same, but it's, you know, it is along the same feel. So I mean, we all do custom work. A lot of us do custom work. And I started also with this, which is assemblage work. You know, I have always done a lot of assemblage work, a lot of mixed media, and then, you know, I love building. I love using my hands. So, yeah.
Interesting. And what's that? You have one more?
Oh, so this one is we had been doing during the quarantine time, we did a Wednesday quarantine crafternoon. So this was one of the first pieces we did because although they're, well, what we did is items you would have around your house because you couldn't go out and go shopping. So this was actually made from toilet paper rolls. So we took the things that were most like on everyone's mind: toilet paper rolls, wine bottles, magazines, cans from, like, you know, nuts or oatmeal or stuff like that. And we use them in our pieces.
We've had a huge positive response from those as well.
We did. It was, you know what? It was fun. It was fun. And it made me kind of think outside the box as well, you know, also with what people would have. So it was a lot of fun. So I think as we go forward, because we did get a lot of good response, we'll be doing some tutorials. Now we have the YouTube channel, so we'll be expanding that a little more.
Yeah, it's amazing what sort of positive response we've gotten from putting our artists on YouTube and sharing their thoughts and interest in Artfish 42, which is growing, expanding. Have you had much time during the quarantine to hibernate and work on some of your art? I know you've been incredibly busy trying to stay alive and keep 42 alive. And
I have done very little. I mean, I have done a few pieces. So that piece was one of the ones that I did do during, I think I did like 3 pieces during the shutdown. But most of my time was spent, you know, like learning the new rules with, you know, keeping businesses alive and stuff. And as I said, I think that's important for artists to learn, you know, like having your stuff right.
Right, and we're all learning a new way to present our stuff, to the
Mhm.
world, different environment, different places, different.
Exactly. Exactly. And our fish is trying to grow along with that. I mean, we were just a small little shop, and now we're growing. And we have our website, we have our e-commerce on the website, ourfish42.com.
Mhm.
We are doing more on Instagram and Facebook. We'll be doing things like that. We're doing live um, like PJ shopping nights type of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to be doing we're going to try to do a lot more classes online. You know, I think, because I think people have like loved being home with family and stuff like that. So,
Right. And enjoying it as a family and doing it
yeah.
together as a family. And
So we're going to be, making our way through and seeing how to do stuff. So it's an exciting time. It's a new chapter. I look at it as it's exciting, it's new, and let's see what we can do.
excellent. Well, I very much look forward to joining you in whatever journey or wherever we end up, because it's a different world, it's a different place, and our art and our ability to share it will be different in the future. So, and I applaud
Absolutely.
you for sticking in there and taking us along with you. It's not easy. I know it has not been easy.
It's, you know what? It is what it is. As I said, I'm so lucky. We have such amazing artists, and you are, of course, are a treasure to us, and not only, I mean, we found hidden talents of yours, Alan,
Oh, I don't.
amazing
Don't go
glass
there.
artist, but you're like a techie.
Yeah, well, we all have hidden secrets. We try to keep them.
We got the secrets.
Any other thoughts about where we're going, where Meg's going, or?
We have some really fun things that we're going to be trying um, coming up, and I think we'll be. We're not ready to disclose them yet because I don't want to say, oh, we're going to do this and then not find we're not able to. But we have a couple of things, and again, this is all fleshing everything out and seeing, as my mother says, throw this macaroni up on the wall, see what sticks, right?
So the message is to stay tuned, because
Stay tuned.
42 is alive and changing and going forward, and you're going to want to be there and experience all of it.
Exactly. And we just hope everyone comes along for the ride and joins us.
Well, I'll be there.
Yay!
Any other thoughts or messages you want to share with our viewership?
I think if you are in the Connecticut area, I say come in, support local art and local artists. And this is wherever you are, wherever you are, look at the local places, because those are your neighbors, those are your friends, those are the people that are surviving in your community. And I think that's really important to look local, and shop small. You can go to some of these big stores and get a print. Well, I can go and get a print of a Van Gogh, but it's a print. You can go to a little gallery, a little area shop like ours, or like there's so many out there, and get a piece that an artist put their soul into. But not only that, when you come to well, I'm just going to use ours because I know our place. You come in, you can meet the artist. You get to know the story behind the picture. And that's what it's about. It's the story behind. If somebody comes to your house and you have a painting up and they say, oh, look at that, that's beautiful. Yeah, so this artist I met, right? And then you tell the story. Now you're invested. You're attached to that piece. There's a connection, and there's a connection between you and that artist.
It becomes an experience as opposed to just a possession that's hanging on the wall. It's an experience.
Exactly.
It's a person, it's a relationship. And it's hard to have a relationship with a Van Gogh print, even though it's very pretty, than you can with an artist that you've met, worked with, and are following their work. So it's very exciting, and it's very crucial in this day and age to keep that in the forefront, to keep us sane.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I will share my coffee. Thank you very much, Meg. Thank you
Thank you.
for
Thank
artwork.
you, Alan. I appreciate it. You did a great job as an interviewer.
All right. Well, thank you. I'll go back to my hovel now and go back to cutting some glass. And I will thank all of you for joining us today. This has been Alan Ruskus here at Artfish 42, Coffee at the Fish. Do not forget to do the sign up for YouTube and hit the bell, like us, and follow along on Instagram. And we hope to see you in the future. Till then, enjoy and goodbye.